Well, hello and how are you? And welcome to the Bible with Briscoe. I am your host, Shenandoah Briscoe, and today we are going to be covering Numbers 9 through 11 and Mark 5 1 through 20. Father, I just ask for clarity of voice and speech recognition so that the reading of your word will be a blessing to you and for those who have tuned in. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. And they all said, amen. The Passover, Numbers 9. The Lord spoke to Moses in the desert of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they came out of Egypt. He said, have the Israelites celebrate the Passover at the appointed time. Celebrate it at the appointed time at twilight on the 14th day of this month in accordance with all its rules and regulations. So Moses told the Israelites to celebrate the Passover. And they did so in the desert of Sinai at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. The Israelites did everything just as the Lord commanded Moses. But some of them could not celebrate the Passover on that day because they were ceremonially unclean on account of a dead body. So they came to Moses and Aaron when that same day and said to Moses, we have become unclean because of a dead body. But why should we be kept from presenting the Lord's offering with the other Israelites at the appointed time? Moses answered them, wait until I find out what the Lord commands concerning you. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites, when any of you or your descendants are unclean because of a dead body, or are away on a journey, they are still to celebrate the Lord's Passover, but they are to do it on the 14th day of the second month at twilight. They are to eat the lamb together with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They must not leave any of it till morning, or break any of its bones. When they celebrate the Passover, they must follow all the regulations. But if anyone who is ceremonially clean and not on a journey fails to celebrate the Passover, they must be cut off from their people for not presenting the Lord's offerings at the appointed time. They will bear the consequences of their sins. A foreigner residing among you is also to celebrate the Lord's Passover in accordance with its rules and regulations. You must have the same regulations for both the foreigner and the native born. The cloud above the tabernacle. Numbers 9:15. On the day of the tabernacle, on the day the tabernacle, the tent of the covenant law was set up. The cloud covered it. From evening till morning, the cloud above the tabernacle looked like fire. That is how it continued to be. The cloud covered it, and at night it looked like fire. Whenever the cloud lifted from above the tent, the Israelites set out. Whenever the cloud settled, the Israelites encamped. At the Lord's command, the Israelites set out, and at his command they encamped. As long as the cloud stayed over the tabernacle, they remained in camp. When the cloud remained over the tabernacle a long time, the Israelites obeyed the Lord's order and did not set out. Sometimes the cloud was over the tabernacle only a few days, and at the Lord's command they would encamp, and then at his command they would set out. Sometimes the cloud stayed only from evening till morning, and when it lifted in the morning, they set out. Whether the cloud stayed over the tabernacle for 2 days, or a month, or a year, the Israelites would remain in camp and not set out. But when it lifted, they would set out. At the Lord's command they encamped, and at the Lord's command they set out. They obeyed the Lord's orders in abundance with his command through Moses. the silver trumpets. Numbers 11. The Lord said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of hammered silver, and use them for calling the community together, and for having the camp set out. When both are sounded, the whole community is to assemble before you at the entrance to the tent of meeting. If only one is sounded, the leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, are to assemble before you. When a trumpet blast is sounded, the tribes camping on the east are to set out. At the sounding of a second blast, the camps on the south are to set out. The blast will be the signal for setting out. To gather the assembly, blow the trumpet, but not with the signal for setting out. The sons of Aaron, the priests, are to blow the trumpets. This is to be a lasting ordinance for you and the generations to come. When you go into battle in your own land against the enemy who is oppressing you, sound a blast on the trumpets. When you then you will be remembered by the Lord your God, and rescued from your enemies. Also, at your times of rejoicing, your appointed festivals and new moon festivals, you are to sound the trumpets over your burnt offerings and fellowship offerings, and they will be a memorial for you before your God. I am the Lord your God. The Israelites leave Sinai. Numbers 10:11. On the 20th day of the second month of the second year, the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle of the covenant law. Then the Israelites set out from the desert of Sinai and traveled from place to place until the cloud came to rest in the desert of Paran. They set out the first time at the Lord's command through Moses. The division of the camp of Judah was first under their standard. Nahshon, son of Amminadab, was in command. Nathaniel, son of Zerah, was over the division of the tribe of Ishar, and Elab, son of Helanan, was over the division of the tribe of Zebulun. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonites and Meratites who carried it set out. The division of the camp of Reuben was next. Under their standard, Elizur, son of Shedeur, was in command. Shalumiel, son of Zereshaddah, was over the division of the tribe of Simon, and Elisaph, son of Deuel, was over the division of the tribe of Gad. Then the Kehathites set out carrying the holy things. The tabernacle was to be set up before they arrived. The division of the camp of Ephraim went next. Under their standard, Elisham, son of Ammihud, was its command. Gamaliel, son of Pedahaz, was over the division of the tribe of Manasseh, and Abidan, son of Gideon, was over the division of the tribe of Benjamin. Finally, as the rear guard for all the units, the division of the camp of Dan set out under their standard. Alahazar, son of Amishad, was in command. Pagiel, son of Acharan, was over the division of the tribe of Asher, and Ahir, son of Enan, was over the division of the tribe of Naphtali. This was the order of march for the Israelites' divisions as they set out. Now Moses said to Hobab, son of Reuel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law. We are setting out for the places about which the Lord said, I will give to you. Come with us, and we will treat you as well, for the Lord has promised good things to Israel. He answered, No, I will not go. I am going back to my own land and my own people. But Moses said, Please do not leave us. You know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you can be our eyes. If you come with us, we will share with you whatever good things the Lord gives us. So they set out from the mountain of the Lord and traveled for 3 days. The ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them during those 3 days to find them a place to rest. The cloud of the Lord was over them by day when they set out from the camp. And whenever the ark set out, Moses said, Rise up, Lord. May your enemies be scattered. May your foes flee before you. And whenever it came to rest, he said, Return, Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel. Fire from the Lord. Numbers 11. Now the people complained about their hardships in the hearing of the Lord. And when he heard them, his anger was aroused. Then fire from the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. When the people cried out to Moses, he prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down. So that place was called Taberah, because fire from the Lord had burned among them. Quail from the Lord. The rabble with them began to crave other foods, and again the Israelites started wailing and said, If only we hadn't had meat to eat. We remembered the fish we ate in Egypt at no cost. Also the cherubims, melons, leeks, onions, and cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But now we have lost our appetite. We never see anything but this manna. The manna was like coriander seed and looked like resin. The people went around gathering it and then ground it in a hand mill or crushed it in a mortar. They cooked it in a pot or made it into loaves, and it tasted like something made with olive oil. When the dew settled on the camp at night, the manna also came down. Moses heard the people of every family wailing at the entrance of their tents, and the Lord became exceedingly angry, and Moses was troubled. He asked the Lord, Why have you brought this trouble on your servant? What have I done to displease you, that you put the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I give them birth? Why do you tell me to carry them in my arms as a nurse carries an infant to the land you promised an oath to their ancestors? Where can I get meat for all these people? They keep wailing at me. Give us meat to eat. I cannot carry all these people by myself. The burden is too heavy for me. If this is how you are going to treat me, please go ahead and kill me. If I have found favor in your eyes and do not, let me face my own ruin. The Lord said to Moses, Bring me 70 of Israel's elders who are known to you as leaders and officials among the people. Have them come to the tent of meeting, that they may stand there with you. I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take some of the power of the Spirit and that is on you and put it on them. They will share the burden of the people with you, so that you will not have to carry it alone. Tell the people, consecrate yourselves in preparation for tomorrow, when you will eat meat. The Lord heard you when you wailed. If only he had meat to eat, if only we had meat to eat. We were better off in Egypt. Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will eat it. You will not eat it for just 1 day, or 2 days, or 5, 10, or 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and you loathe it, because you have rejected the Lord who is among you, and have wailed before him, saying, Why did we ever leave Egypt? But Moses said, Here I am among 600,000 men on foot, and you say, I will give them meat to eat for a whole month. Would they have enough if flocks and herds were slaughtered for them? Would they have enough if all the fish in the sea were caught for them? The Lord answered Moses, Is the Lord's arms too short? Now you will see whether or not what I say will come true for you. So Moses went out and told the people what the Lord had said. He brought together 70 of their elders and had them stand around the tent. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke with him, and he took some of the power of the Spirit that was on him and put it on the 70 elders. When the Spirit rested on them, they prophesied, but did not do so again. However, 2 men whose names were Eldad and Medad had remained in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but did not go out to the tent. Yet the Spirit also rested on them, and they prophesied in the camp. A young man ran and told Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Joshua, son of Nun, who had been Moses' aide since youth, spoke up and said, Moses, my lord, stop them. But Moses replied, Are you jealous for my sake? I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his Spirit on them. Then Moses and the elders of Israel returned to the camp. Now a wind went up from the Lord, and drove quail in from the sea, and scattered them up to 2 cubits deep all around the camp, as far as the day's walk in any direction. All that day and night, and all the next day, the people went out and gathered quail. No one gathered less than 10 homers. Then they spread them out. They spread them out all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, and before it could be consumed, the angel of the Lord burned against the people, and struck them with a severe plague. Therefore the place was named Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they buried the people who had craved other foods. From Kibroth Hattaavah the people traveled to Hazeroth and stayed there. That concludes Numbers 9 through 11. Now we'll move into Mark 5, 1 through 20. Well, I could swear I just read this not too long ago. Actually, I did in the Daily Bread portion of the Shen Show. Jesus restores a demon-possessed man. Mark 5, 1. They went across the lake to the region of Gennesaret, where Jesus got out of the boat. A man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain, for he had often been chained hand and foot. But he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day, among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs. Allow us to go into them." He gave them permission. He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down into the sea and drowned. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this to the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons, sitting there dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it, told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged him to take him with. And Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. That concludes Mark 5, 1 through 20. That concludes the Bible with Briscoe for the day. Tomorrow we will be covering Numbers 12 through 14, and Mark 5:21 through 43. That's tomorrow, Numbers 12 through 14, and Mark 5:21 through 43. Father, I just ask that this was a blessing for you and for all of those who have tuned in today. I just ask that you bless me with being able to keep this up for you. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. And they all said, amen. So this has been Shenandoah Briscoe saying thank you for tuning into the Bible with Briscoe. And come back and see me tomorrow because, well, I'll be here, and I hope that you are too.